Hi, I'm Adrian Cockcroft. Over the years, I've given a lot of talks on microservices and cloud architectures, and there are some ideas I always wanted to illustrate with a short animated sequence. So I've worked with a visual design team to come up with a series of animations, each illustrating a specific concept. So this talk's on the evolution of business logic, as we went from monoliths through microservices, and now we're looking at functions. Back about 10 years ago, we had monoliths, and when we tried to split them up, we found that it was a lot of hard work. The networks were too slow, the CPUs were too slow, and the messaging protocols we used were based on XML and SOAP, and they were heavyweight. So when we tried to split things up, we ended up with fairly large services which had a lot of functionality in them, and we had a relatively small number of monolithic services that we built out. Moving forward a bit, what we found was that CPUs got a lot faster, networks got a lot faster, and we moved to much more efficient protocols. So it's maybe 100 or 1,000 times more efficient now to make calls between services. That let us take our monolithic services and break them up into microservices. Those services form a fairly complex looking network with a lot of messages flowing backwards and forwards between them. You can see here a service network, a service mesh, where we go from the edge, we flow through many layers of services to reach, on the right-hand side, storage services and caches. Now we take that environment, we think about the way that these services are becoming more standardized. So rather than building all these services ourselves, we're starting to use off-the-shelf services that are scaled, they're highly available, and they come from AWS. So we have SQS, DynamoDB, Kinesis, SNS, and S3, and we feed them all from the API gateway. The microservices that we built in between these is where the business logic lives. So if we look at that business logic, that's the glue between the bricks. And we're now starting to split that glue up and form individual functions that are really just connecting these services. And I've drawn this grayed out because they're not actually running until there's some work for them to do. You get a request coming in on the gateway, and it gets routed through a few functions and finds its way to a particular set of services. By doing this, it's incredibly efficient in terms of runtime, because whenever the system is idle, it shuts down and costs nothing to run. Everything is always 100% utilized, and it turns out these functions we're writing are really short and easy to write, and it's very fast to develop these systems too. So we've seen over the last decade, really, moving from monoliths to maybe 5 years ago when microservices emerged, and right now we're starting to see functions pick up as a new paradigm for building new business logic. I hope you found that interesting. Please let me know what you think via comments or Twitter at AdrianCO, and stay tuned for new stories. Thanks for watching.